ever since the Chronicles Spirit Charmers deck got announced, the Charmer archetype has gotten more and more support over time, and today will be no different because in the upcoming core set Blazing Dominion, we got some more new Charmer support that have been announced for that very same core set, and I'm telling you guys, we could be looking at a format where Charmers might take over the meta. And I know I've said that about so many different archetypes over the last several months, but this one is probably going to be one of those archetypes. But I'm not gonna waste any time. I am just gonna get straight into it because there are three cards that must be talked about in this video. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Kicking things off, we got 4 Charmers in Profusion, which, if it'll load, there we go, which is a light spellcaster Link 4 with 1850 attack, and its arrows are left, right, bottom right, and it requires 2 or more monsters. And the second effect is a once per turn. The first effect reads gains 300 attack for each attribute among monsters on the field. Second effect reads once while face up on the field during the main phase. As a quick effect, you can target 2 monsters in your grave with the same type or attribute, special summon both. But they and this card cannot be used as material for a fusion, synchro, exceeds, or link summon until the end of your next turn. Excuse me. Excuse me. Which is actually kind of sick because which is actually kind of in it's kind of interesting that it has that restriction because you could go into so many different rank 4s with this card. I with this with this card's second effect. You could go into pretty much any generic rank 4 that doesn't have much as much restriction as this card does. But it's cool because you're able to spam your board with a bunch of bodies, and you can essentially just steamroll your opponent for game depending on what your opening hand looked like and what your hand looks like now. Excuse me. So honestly, this isn't too bad. Although the only downside, I think, excuse me, the only downside I feel like that this card has is the fact that you're locked out of using those two. You're locked out of using these 3 cards as materials for a fusion, synchro, exceeds, or link. Hypothetically speaking, if one of your like let's say the deck has a synchro monster that requires 2 Charmers on the field. Hypothetically speaking, if you need to summon that card, hypothetically speaking, you may have to use those 2 cards as synchro material. But I think there are some. I don't know. I don't know. There might be some way to ensure that you're able to go into your fusion plays and shit, but I don't think so. But that's like the only downside is that you're locked out of your extra deck if you do that. That's like the only downside. But other than that, I mean, it's not bad, not too bad. Next up, we've got Familiars of the Spiritual Arts. Which honestly, this is probably by far one of the cutest artworks I've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. 100%, this is like one of the cutest things I've ever seen. But anyway, it is a 4-star water reptile, which is kind of funny. With 1500 attack, 200 defense, and it says that this card is always treated as a familiar possessed card, and all 3 of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads: if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 possessed, spell, trap, or grant spiritual art Ichirin from your deck to your hand. Second effect reads: you can declare 1 type and attribute. This card becomes the declared type and attribute until the end of the turn. Third effect reads: if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a spellcaster with 1500 defense from your deck or grave. So this is actually really cool because you can search out for pretty much any possessed spell or trap to your hand, and you're able to just combo off from there. But what's really interesting about this card is that you can use this card as a potential fusion material for the new fusion that I talked about in a previous video, where you're able to just summon it and just pop off from there, which is kind of cool. And again, it's literally Spell and Trap Rhoda. It's Spell and Trap Rhoda, and it's essentially a monster reborn for Charmers, which is cracked. Kind of cracked, my guy. Kind of cracked. But that brings us to the final card of the video, and it is known as Possessed Resonance. Which is a normal spell, and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads: target a face-up monster on the field, special summon a Charmer or familiar possessed monster with the same attribute from your hand, deck, or grave in attack position or face-down defense. Then you can change the targeted monster to face-down defense. Second effect reads: you can banish this card from your grave. Then target a monster you control, change its battle position. Okay, so let's think about this for a minute, because this is essentially a cyber ref system for Charmers, because you're able to special summon a Charmer or a familiar possessed monster from your hand, your deck, or your graveyard. And obviously, you guys know that the graveyard now, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, even in other formats, like toss format, half format, even also in oh my god, I can't speak. Sorry guys. My excuse me, my autism kicked in. Even in Edison format, the graveyard is essentially your second hand. So you're able to just combo off, do a bunch of bullshit. Even in Black Wings, in decks like Black Wings, Vayu Turbo, in Edison, you can use Vayu in Grave to go into a synchro summon, which is kind of cracked, and I would know because my Blackwing deck uses up a single copy of Vayu, which a lot of people seem to believe that Vayu is better as a one of. It's pretty debatable. It's pretty debatable that for people to say that Vayu is better as a one of, but the only difference between pure Blackwing and Vayu Turbo is that you use is that with Vayu Turbo, you use the graveyard more often than people would least expect. And with pure Blackwing, the only time you would ever use the graveyard is with a few things. Let's see. It's only under three conditions that you would use the graveyard, and here are those three. And it's not just Vayu Turbo, it's also Blizzard the Far North, and of course Dark Arm Dragon, because obviously with Vayu you banish Vayu plus another Blackwing, and you go into a synchro summon. With Blizzard, when you normal summon Blizzard, you can target any Blackwing in your grave and special summon it, so it acts as like a monster reborn of sorts. And then with Dark Arm Dragon, you have to have exactly 3 darks in grave, which that restriction is by far one of the dumbest restrictions I've ever heard. In fact, I think the original text from Phantom Darkness said that you just had to have 3 darks in grave, but over time they gave it an errata where you have to have exactly 3 darks in grave, which is kind of bullshit, but it is what it is. But what's cool about that is that you can banish the dark and you basically get to pop your opponent's board. and because that it's Edison, the effect is not a hard it's not a hard once per turn, meaning that you can use the effect over and over again if you're able to have the exact darks you need to make it happen. But again, going back to the whole graveyard being, the grave being a second hand. In modern Yu-Gi-Oh, that's basically what it is. It's literally a second hand for pretty much every single deck in the format, including decks like Raziel, Mitsurugi, Yummy, even also DDs. And this deck box has my DD deck in it. What I'm looking to do is, once I've completed the deck, I'm going to do a little bit of play testing, and I'm going to see what cards I can take out, what cards I can put in, just a way to make it my own version, if you will. Because this version that I built, it's basically Team Samurai X1's version from a few months ago. Shoutouts to Team Sam by the way. I am going to revise it a little bit because I feel like, and as crazy as it sounds, I feel like you really don't need 3 copies of Molcharmy Fualos. I feel like the Molcharmys are a brick, especially if you're going first. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to think. I'm gonna have to think about it. But there are still a few cards that I'm missing. I'm missing a scale. I'm missing 2 Scale Surveyor, 1 Count Surveyor, 2 Fualos. I'm missing 3 Impulse, and I'm also missing Wave King Caesar, the original Wave King Caesar. So hopefully I can get my hands on those and maybe play a little Modern. Haven't played Modern in a minute. Mostly just been playing Edison for the last year now. So hopefully I can get those cards and maybe play a little Modern. But going back with this one card, Possessed Resonance, it's basically Cyber Rev System and a Book of Moon rolled into one single effect. And then the second effect, it's essentially it's essentially a block attack slash stop defense type of effect where you can change the battle position of whatever of a monster you control. So if you have a fusion on board and you know you have game, you can banish this card from your grave, switch control of switch the battle position of that monster, and then just go for game, which is insanely busted. 100%, it is insanely busted. Though I don't really know exactly if I don't really know what the restriction is going to be with this card. I think if there was one restriction, I think the restriction would probably have to be that you would have to switch one of your other monsters to defense as a way to ensure that you don't get hit with cards like Mirror Force or um potentially like, I would say evenly matched, but evenly matched doesn't matter because once evenly matched gets played, you have to banish practically your whole board. So it's kind of iffy, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but I will say that these that all these new Charmer cards that we've been getting over the last month has been pretty chaotic. It's been pretty crazy, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe we might see Charmers become a viable meta strategy. Only time will tell. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. Excuse me. Excuse me. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more card discussions in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is the boy Nash, signing out.